Hello. Today we're speaking to Barb Wurtzberger, who's been a member at Our Savior's here for about 45 years. We're so lucky that she's here to share her faith story with us. She's been on the Board of Education. She's been on the Board of Deacons. She brings food to funerals on a regular basis. She does our decor in the social hall. And she also went on the mission trip that's almost a year ago now, down to the Texas border. But with every way that you've served God, and you've served God in so many ways, does one way stand out to you?
You know, as I'm aging, now I'm in my early 70s, I'm finding that I don't care for committee meetings, but I do think that I can do things individually and reach out to individual people. And that's probably because in my lifetime, I have needed people to reach out to me. And so often they were church members,
Yes.
this church or another church. They were Christian people.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's so important to make that connection, even just one-on-one, to make it
Yes.
real.
Mhm.
You know,
That's
so
right.
I really appreciate you saying that, because relationship is a big part of church.
Mhm.
So who in your life has been a role model in your faith?
You know, my first memory, and I didn't know it until years later, but I was maybe in 5th grade. We would belong to a small church. It was a Danish Lutheran church, and it was a member of the LCA. And our pastor, well, it was Christmas Eve, it was cold, it was dark, and we were going to go home and open presents about 5:30. And the man ahead of me was Chris. And he had a dirty old long coat, and I know us kids looked at him askance because he was just kind of hobo.
Right.
And I heard Pastor Deuce ask him to come to their house for supper for Christmas.
Nice.
And then I know later on, because I suppose I heard adults talking about it, the teenagers in the pastor's house did not like that man, smelly man, he did smell. But for some reason, isn't that a Christian outreach, which the pastor did?
On Christmas Eve.
On Christmas Eve. And here I was a little girl, and I don't think I thought about it in my growing up years, but man, I have thought about it.
Isn't that,
as an
that's true
adult.
Christianity?
So it shows you what you do.
Yeah.
Kids notice, and maybe it'll affect them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that story, because we need to reach out, to all levels of people.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite memory here at Our Savior's, or a different memory you have maybe in the church that you grew up in?
Well, in the church I grew up in, because it was so Danish, they had a sailing ship hanging from, and you go on the aisle and you'd see this sailing ship up there, and that was kind of a Danish thing because it was a maritime church.
Oh, I didn't know that.
In Denmark, yes. And then my grandmother and grandfather were from Denmark, and I didn't know Grandpa, but my grandmother loved Denmark, and so she, we were really immersed in the Danish way.
So did you live near your grandparents?
No, but she came up and she stayed at us when I was the oldest, and when the younger kids were born, she would come and she would stay, and she was just really instrumental. She took me and a bunch of cousins over the years to Denmark.
Oh my, how nice.
So
what is, you said it's a maritime church. What does that mean?
the country, Denmark, is not a church, but the country is. There's a lot of seafaring people.
Okay.
And that was just part of it. So that's one thing I remember. The other thing I remember is in the 70s when Richard and I married. Why, it was a Protestant Catholic marriage, and back then it was still pretty tough, and then we had, it was pretty tough. So we were married here. Richard became a member of St. Mary's because St. Mary's and Our Savior's were a good combination for those of us.
Nice.
And so we were married here in Pastor Spencer, and then we had a priest. And
in the service, the priest?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that served us well over the years.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
I love that both the pastor and the priest were here to do that service.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So, has there been a time in your life when you really needed to lean on God?
Yes. I was diagnosed with cancer, and I always wondered if I really had faith. But I found out that I do. because one sister died of cancer, the other sister had two kinds of cancer. I got off kind of easy with one kind, and surgery took care of it. But I wondered. But I
Right.
do have faith.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
Hmm.
That is a real journey to
Yeah.
work through the cancer diagnosis, the healing, and the
Yep.
fear that you can have. And I
Yeah.
do remember your sister from playing bells. And
Yes. Hmm. Yeah.
such a fun person. I
Yes.
enjoyed her for the short time that I knew her
Yes,
in bells.
yes,
So
yes.
nice. Well, thank you very much, Barb. I loved hearing your stories and always learning more about people. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.